ITSMF is for black tech execs. 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 Vision of Carl Williams, the fire will stick. 14 black CIOs, they wouldn't quit. Building a future for minds so bright. Breaking through barriers, leading a fight.
Mission's clear, it's bold, it's grand. We raise up leaders to take the stand. C-suite, Fortune 500, we're there. Global leadership, we take the air.
Feel it, management, emerge, ignite. Like a jungle of these blazing with all their might. Mind, body, and soul, we roll.
ITSMF, let the world know.
First stars, we rise and lead. In depths, bright future, we plant the seed. Mind, body, and soul, we rise.
Breaking ceilings, touching skies.
ITSMF is for black tech execs. ITSMF is for black tech execs. ITSMF is for black tech execs. ITSMF is for black tech execs.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I absolutely love our theme song. We had the opportunity to debut our theme song at S2, so I am so happy. If you were not able to join us at S2, you had an opportunity to catch it here live, and I promise you it's going to be one of those songs you're going to be singing about ITSMF all day long. So welcome again, everyone. Thank you to everyone that's tuning in live from StreamYard, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook. And a special hello to those of you all that weren't able to catch us live, but you're watching our replay later today. My name is Sherelle Bailey, and I have the absolute honor of serving as the Director of Events for ITSMF. It's truly a privilege to welcome you all to our 2025 State of the Community Address. It's a moment for us to gather, reflect, and look ahead with purpose and determination. As many of you all know, ITSMF exists to increase the representation of Black professionals at senior levels in technology. We do it with the goal of driving innovation and transformative growth in our organizations and communities alike. But beyond these numbers, beyond the boardrooms, and beyond the industries that we serve, our mission is deeply rooted in something even greater: the development of extraordinary leaders like yourself. We're talking about leaders that inspire, leaders that uplift, leaders that not only navigate change, but actively shape our future. And in our times of uncertainty, whether it's in our industries or our communities or the world at large, leadership is really what carries us forward. And ITSMF is not just an organization, it's a movement. It's a sanctuary for some and a source of strength. It's a place that we've created where leaders are nurtured and barriers are broken and hope is continuously restored. So today at our State of the Community Address, you'll have the honor of hearing from our esteemed President and CEO, Johanna Jones, who will share insights into AI readiness, impact data, leadership transformation, and ITSMF strategies for leading and succeeding in this current environment. Later, our board chair, Ibrahim Jackson, will further expand on his vision and discuss how we can prepare our leaders for C-suite success and how we plan to shape our future. Each will bring their unique perspective on the progress that we've made and the path forward, providing a clear view of our organization's impact and the future. But But of course, this event is more than just an update on the state of our community. It's really a celebration. It's a celebration of resilience, of progress, and a celebration of you, our members, our partners, our academy participants, and our supporters. You all each play a pivotal role in shaping the impact of ITSMF, and your dedication fuels our mission. Together, we're not just building careers here, we're really building legacies. So as we embark on this conversation today, I encourage you all to listen with open hearts and engage with curiosity throughout the chat, and take pride in the incredible work we're all accomplishing together and what lies ahead. At the end, we'll have time for Q&A. So I encourage you all, while you're engaging with one another in the chat, be thinking about those questions that you want to ask, and we'll ask those questions live to both Johanna and Ibrahim during Q&A. So before I invite Johanna, we do have an unofficial poll we want to share with you all. It's just an internal poll that we're using for our own planning, but we want to know about your company's commitment to DE&I for 2025. So you can let us know anonymously by scanning this QR code that you see here on the screen, and you can easily select one of those options. It's a poll that will take you about 30 seconds to complete. And so we just ask that you go ahead and complete this to help ITSMF as we continue to plan forward. So we'll leave this QR code up for a minute or two to let you all scan it and complete it before we move on. We also have the link available for you in the chat as well. So if you missed the QR code, you can always visit the chat and grab that link and complete the poll. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome our president and CEO, Johanna Jones.
Boy, do we have a lot to talk about today. Last year, I heard NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang say at an AI summit last year that we are at the beginning of a technological revolution, that since 1964, the cost of computers and the operating systems of computers have changed consistently. But we are currently reinventing the computer for the first time since 1964. He said that AI will democratize intelligence. He said that countries will own supercomputers and sovereign AI. He said that AI will automate investigations of cyber threats and evaluation of real threats. Jensen said that for every AI deployed, we will need hundreds to watch over it. In that speech, I saw the blueprint for where the market was going. I saw the blueprint for where emerging technology is going. And I saw how power will shape who gets to be a player. I realized how important it is for ITSMF to shape the leaders of this new future. AI may democratize intelligence and information, but it will not democratize power and opportunity. We will. ITSMF, we are a prolific organization. We are a strong organization. We are a respected organization, and we have some important work to do. In 2024, we reached over 500 members. We graduated 160 leaders through our academies. We served a total of 780 leaders in our Global Institute for Professional Development in 2024. We were recognized by CIO Magazine as one of the top 10 membership organizations every CIO should join. We served 110 college students, and we committed over $200,000 to support students through our college mentoring program and our scholarship foundation. 1,400 people attended our events in 2024. We collaborated with 47 corporate sponsors intensively to activate their talented leaders. We received 350 donations from individuals in 2024, and we raised $4.38 million in annual revenue in 2024, an increase of $500,000 above 2023. All of this, despite headwinds, challenges, and massive change, our impact is growing. Thanks to you, ITSMF family, we could not be where we are without you. President Trump's executive order of January 2021 entitled Ending Illegal Discrimination and Restoring Merit-Based Opportunity, according to law firm Hush Blackwell, can have a broad impact on diversity, equity, inclusion programs going forward. This phrase DEI is now attached to negative connotation, signaling unearned favorable treatment for groups of people based upon race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, religion, and national origin. Or not, we agree with the president's interpretation of what DEI is. In practice, we have seen corporations make public announcements about the effect of DEI and their intention to reduce DEI associated programs inside and outside of the workplace. ITSMF's core programs and services, including our professional development academies and our partnerships with Fortune 500 companies, precedes corporate policies that are specifically identified as DEI initiatives. We have been around since 1996. Our partnerships are brokered, partner by C-level executives who are committed to talent development within their organization. Each one of our partnerships is customized based upon the priorities of that corporate partner. We don't restrict participation in our programs, nor do we mandate quotas for hiring or for promoting people. Corporate policies committed to ensuring that all talent has access to opportunity are consistent with ITSMF's mission and our vision. Our value proposition is about talent development and ensuring that the best and brightest talent has access to opportunities to survive and to thrive. ITSMF helps its partners retain their best and brightest leaders, enabling them to contribute to innovation and growth by ascending to executive leadership roles. At ITSMF, we recognize that true diversity is defined as the collective mix, which includes all archetypes of people. We celebrate the power and effectiveness of a diverse leadership mix, and that is critical to define advancement and technology development. We believe that the leadership mix is incomplete without the presence of Black technology leaders at senior levels. Our mission is to prepare Black technology executives to contribute to the leadership and evolution of technology throughout society. We invite all people to join us in our mission, our programs, and our ITSMF community. Our solution to the challenges ahead are to become more sophisticated in communicating our impact and our return on investment that our programs provide. Do this, we are working to become a more data-driven organization and sharing our results about how we transform individual leaders and organizations at the collective level. We will work to be more strategic and efficient in engaging and deploying our network of resources. We will expand our current relationships while building new ones. To survive in this new environment, it is essential that we work to diversify our resources and our revenue. This will insulate us from the current headwinds that threaten our ability to deliver our services and ultimately make an impact. And that impact is one that we know we must deliver now more than ever. At this time, we are focusing on internal efficiency. We are working to reduce our operating expenses in some areas so that we can redeploy to areas where we can have the greatest impact and areas that are most critical to our mission and to our sustainability right now. We have recommitted and refocused our energy to have greater impact by reaching even more of the most brilliant, high-performing leaders in technology and helping them ascend to the C-suite. We have recommitted and refocused our energy to collecting and analyzing our impact data more effectively. Using AI, we're planning to build a data lakehouse and add new analytic tools and new CRMs. We are launching a new membership engagement tool to make networking and communicating amongst our members more efficient and increase membership engagement. We are recommitted and refocusing to use every dollar in the most efficient, impactful way, which includes building up the ITSMF Foundation, increasing our investment accounts, and reducing our operating expenses. We know that there are more leaders out there who need us. There are more corporations out there that need ITSMF leaders, and there are more teams out there that need ITSMF. There are about 4,400 Black tech executives in Fortune 500 companies at the senior level. We probably actively engage about 40% of these leaders. ITSMF is positioning itself as a leader in addressing the underrepresentation of Black professionals in AI, and we are recommitting to strategic initiatives that include expanding our leadership programs, that includes developing new programming in partnership with AI Innovision, that includes an AI certification, an AI masterclass, a mentorship network of AI professionals, and programs for Black women in AI. We are leveraging our corporate partnerships. We are advocating for ethics and inclusion in AI. We are enhancing our visibility, continuing to promote our members' expertise throughout our events like symposiums and industry conferences. We are supporting Black tech entrepreneurs in a new and different way in 2025, and we are committed to broader community engagement. We are calling upon our community and our family to address critical gaps in AI. Members, corporate partners, tech corporations, academic institutions, policymakers, we need you. Freedom Riders were groups of Black and white civil rights activists who participated in freedom rides, which were bus trips throughout the American South in 1961 to protest segregated bus terminals and segregated buses. Freedom Riders use whites-only restrooms and lunch counters at bus stations in Alabama, in South Carolina, and in other southern states. These groups were confronted by arresting police officers, as well as they were confronted by horrific violence from white protesters along their routes. But they also drew national and international attention to the civil rights movement through their protests. Congressman John Lewis is one of the most famous freedom riders. In Montgomery, Alabama, 50,000 residents boycotted the segregated public transportation system, for 382 days by strategizing and organizing alternative transportation systems. Legal segregation on public bus systems and in interstate transit ended when people united in protest. In 1961, everyday people, Black and white, were inspired by the injustices they witnessed and saw their ability to make change when the government and the law were wrong about civil rights. Black leaders joined forces, not just with allies, not just with accomplices, but with co-conspirators. And they strategized, they networked, and they created sophisticated, overt, and sometimes covert strategies that led to changes in the law and in policies. Co-conspirators could access rooms, businesses, and seats that were illegal for their Black counterparts to enter. They entered these rooms and these spaces, and they held the door open and made room for their Black counterparts to enter. And this was not charitable or benevolent work, because these were leaders who understood that the rights were not being protected for people who had earned the right to use public transportation without oppression. Our theme for 2025 is Forging Connections. The future is now. What I know for sure is that we have some formidable co-conspirators amongst us, and we need more. What I know for sure is that we are a community of 500 of the most brilliant technology leaders with extraordinary problem-solving abilities and the most prolific network of corporate partner contacts than you can imagine. We were founded by C-level executives in 1996 when affirmative action was under attack and DEI was not a well-known social or corporate policy priority. Our mantra has been leaders transforming leaders to impact innovation and growth for 29 years now. Join us on this ride. Members, join us on this ride. Let us outthink and mobilize our networks to defeat oppressive policies that do not serve the modern, futuristic, technology-driven workforce of the future, nor the successful cultures that drive innovation in the workforce. Join us on this ride. Collaborate with ITSMF to increase representation in and in procurement. Join us on this ride. Invest in the future of technology by mentoring and supporting the ITSMF Foundation. Join us on this ride. Refer us to members and corporate partners that believe as we believe. Join us on this ride. Invest in your talent and support and sponsor them through our ITSMF academies. Join us on this ride. Donate today and donate often online. Join us on this ride. Share board employment opportunities and RFP opportunities with ITSMF family members seeking opportunities. Join us on this ride. Collect data about our impact and share it. Tell your story. Invite us to speak. Join us on this ride. Join an ITSMF forum. Join an ITSMF advisory committee. Join the ITSMF board. Join us on this ride. Donate pro bono professional services. Humanoid robots are coming. AI super agents will be our co-workers. They are our co-workers right now. We must ensure that our laws and our policies and our work environments protect all humans right now. Trillions will be spent on energy, cybersecurity, supercomputers, and AI innovation. We must ensure that we don't millions and trillions by not having brilliant, talented people in the right positions and ready to lead us into this new future. Let us forge a formidable future and build new connections. The future is now. Thank you, ITSMF family. And with that, let me welcome our amazing board chair, Ibrahim Jackson, CEO of Ubiquitous Preferred. Thank you, Ibrahim.
Outstanding job, Johanna. Well done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well done. Well done. I almost don't want to follow you after that. That's fantastic. Okay, so bear with me, family. I do need to put up a presentation. Okay. I think something changed on the back end. Stop and present. Oh, here we are. All right. Give me one moment. There we are. Share. All right. Well, thank you again, Johanna. And our messages will be pretty consistent, everyone. Can someone just give me confirmation that the screen is sharing? There we are. All right. Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, family, for jumping in and joining in. I have to tell you, I wanted to just share a story about how impactful and important ITSMF is. And I've been sharing this story with several companies every time that they ask me, well, you know, how do you, what brought you into the organization and why? And I always go back to the story, which many of you know, and many of you don't who are new to the org. I was working at Estee Lauder Companies. At the time, Earl Newsome was the chief information officer over there. And he was a new hire who I had yet to meet. I knew his name, but I did not know him. And I walk into his office and I do something that many of us wouldn't even fathom doing. I said, holy smoke, you're black. And he looked at himself and said, yeah, I sure am, right? And we smiled and we chuckled and, you know, I walked out of his office and he got to know me over time. And he said to me, he said, Ibrahim, and many of you who are familiar with my background, you know, I'm a kid who grew up in South Jamaica, Queens, New York during a time when it was really tough and rough. And, you know, I have a Jamaican mom who made sure that I went to private school and said, you know, you are more than what your environment is, all of these things. However, you still get a piece of your neighborhood that comes with you. And so he says, Ibrahim, you've got everything that it takes. You're performing well. You've got the image. You're getting the exposure. You're working with the executives. He said, but you got to shake some of that South side off of you, right? This was not the first time this was said to me. It may have been said 4 or 5 times before that, but it was the first time that I heard it. And I heard it because there was someone who I could identify with, because there was community there. There was something that was unique about the relationship, which to this day, Earl Newsome and I are still, you know, very close with each other. So, and I appreciate him for that. And he's the one that brought me into ITSMF back in 2007. So if anyone ever asks you, you know, how can we partner with ITSMF and really what value is it to our community? It's really that sense of connection, the sense of trust, and the ability for us to build together, as well as bring back to our companies things that can help it advance and enhance what's happening there today. So Johanna mentioned many of the things that are happening in today's world and climate. And, you know, piggybacking off the term she said in terms of headwinds, I often quote Jim Rohn anytime we're in a scenario of turbulence. He says, it's not the blowing of the wind, but it's the set of the sail. Because at the end of the day, the same wind blows on us all. For some people, they're seeing tailwinds for some of the things that are happening. For others, they're facing headwinds. For us as a community, we need to figure out where we're going to position ourselves, how we're going to position the industry, and drive forward with that. And so that's what I will cover today from a board level. So when we're sitting on the board, and we're having conversations about how do we continue to advance you all as a community, I will say that there are some things that come top of mind in many of our sidebar conversations that jump out a lot more than some of our more structured agenda. And the first is around developing the prowess. And I love the fact that ITSMF under Johanna's leadership is looking at how do we build up a population of AI ready now with Alicia Little and her team to get them certified, to make them instructors, and just a pool of talent that can really drive AI home. What I will offer up to the community is don't only think about AI, because there's so much more happening in the technology space. You've got AI that's driving things. Johanna also mentioned cybersecurity. And more important, as quantum computing does become real, cybersecurity is going to be an even bigger area. And so we need to make sure that we're focused on our core, which is how do we get people to those C-level positions, but also make sure that they're in position to get the next generation of talent that can be their successors. Too often, we're seeing our folks that are sitting in C-suite positions, and when they transition, we have to start all over again inside of an organization to move them forward. And so they'll need the digital prowess in those areas of cybersecurity, AI, quantum computing, advanced infrastructure around networking, and the list goes on. Spatial computing, virtual, augmented reality. All of these things are coming down the pipe, even if it doesn't sound as loud as the Gen AI activity that's happening. So, that's an area where we're going to be laser focused. And I think Robert, Cheryl, come on, Dr. Turner, of course. I knew I shouldn't have done this, because Dr. Rogers, all of the academy leaders are making sure that our leaders are prepared, both with the digital and business acumen, to lead in the future. So I think we're doing a great job there. Next is around building connection, which is really about our events. So Symposium 1, Symposium 2, phenomenal, big marquee events for the organization that everyone should always participate in. I know I'm probably scaring Cedric and Johanna right now because we often get oversubscribed for these events. But what we're also looking to do is build up our local chapter events. And what I would offer up is participate in these events as well as bringing others along. Just think about if Earl never just, offered up to me the opportunity. There are several members who I've brought in since then, right? And I always tell from a board level that we have to look at ourselves as force multipliers. How do we go into a situation as one and come out as 10, right? I believe in 10xing everything. So that's what we need to look to do as a community. So I would offer up to you, connect with your local rep to make sure that you're participating in the local events, and then bring others along with you so that they can see that there's a community that they would like to be a part of. ITSMF is not a best kept secret, never was, or never should have been. And we are the best known capability that's in the market to ensure that Black technology executives continue to sharpen their skills and can drive value back into their organization. The next area is around positioning you for visibility. Now, I know Elaine and Art Hopkins are working on some things that will allow you to see how you are viewed through executive search firms. This is key and critical to your success in getting to that C-level position, because oftentimes in these large-scale enterprises and even mid-cap, they're going to the Shreks, right? And if you're not familiar with the Shrek term, you should, one, get familiar with it, two, build relationships with those that are in those firms, and then three, whoever it is that is potentially sponsoring you within an organization, they'll have relationships in here. They should be speaking with them. So when we talk about Shrek, that's Spencer Stewart, that's Heidrick and Struggles, that's, I always mispronounce the E one, we'll make sure you get that. Russell Reynolds, which we obviously have our in-house Art Hopkins, as well as Korn Ferry. Right? Have a relationship with these firms so that they know that you're out there, that you're on their radar. So when the next company comes to you and says, do you know anyone who would be a nice fit for a CIO position? We need a disruptor. We need a stabilizer. We need a productizer that can take care of these things. You know who to go to. If they need the next chief data officer, these firms, they need to know that they can come to ITSMF if they're looking for someone who is of a diverse profile that can help to drive value. If they're looking for the next CISO, if they're looking for the next head of infrastructure and operations, if they're looking for the next head of portfolio management, and even if they're looking for the next CEO because they're looking for someone that can really drive digital products into the market, make sure you have a relationship with these firms so they know about you as well as they know about your broader network. So that's what we'll do to shape our future. Now, how do we go about shaping the future of the world? We like to look at things from the perspective of the worker, the workplace, and the world. And so we're now looking at the world. First and foremost, we need to make sure that we have a pool of ready now C-level digital leaders who really understand the technology, understand their business. They have the interpersonal skills that it takes to maneuver the politics of an organization, both inside and outside, as well as work with work on social impact and be those leaders that aren't the ones that are burning out their teams, right? And that's where we talk about well-being. ITSMF has capabilities in all of those areas to help us have the right people in place. Next, how do we go about shaping the future? There is a lot of challenging commentary as well as actions that are being taken place through many of these White House executive orders. But there are three in particular that I pulled out, at least as of Friday, where I said, okay, if I'm thinking about how do we set the sail, where do we position ITSMF to say, based on this executive order, how do we drive ITSMF to delivering value into the marketplace? And the three that I looked at, and you can jot these down: Executive Order 29, Executive Order 31, and Executive Order 32. Executive Order 29 is around digital fintech. So for anyone who's inside the banking, financial services industry, we need your input and insights into how can we as a community capitalize on this particular executive order to continue to lift ourselves as well as drive our agenda forward. Number two is that there is a Council for Science and Technology. Many of you last year or the year before may remember that Johanna and I, as well as Elaine, John Gift, and several others went down to DC to actually contribute to the White House's agenda around cybersecurity. These are areas where we need to actually stake our claim and make sure that we have a position on where Black technology executives view these orders. And then the next one is Executive Order 32, which is about America being a leader in AI. Now, I know as of yesterday or 2 days ago, the market crashed because China made some advancements with the firm that I totally forgot about. But I will say we still have opportunities here because they're talking about speed. What we need to talk about is operating models, governance, as well as ensuring that there are ethical practices happening in AI. In most instances, for any algorithm that's being created, if we are not represented in terms of developing these LLMs, making sure that there aren't any blind spots on the teams, AI will not necessarily work in our favor or be beneficial for us. And then lastly, I'm in conversations with one of our board members. I haven't gotten authorization from her to speak about her name yet, but we are looking to lead a project at the board level around emerging technology. When we were going into election season, there was a lot of talk about Project 2025. And she said to myself, as well as Johanna, she said, everyone's talking about Project 2025. And what I'm wondering is, what is IT 2025? What is Black Technology Executive 2025? And since we're in the year, I think it would be more apropos for us to look at Project 2030 and how are we going about shaping what the emerging technology agenda will be in 2023 for Black technology executives, as well as the entire pipeline of C-level executives that we'll have in place. And so anyone who connects with Ibrahim knows that you leave with homework, right? This is not just for you to sit and listen and hear and say, oh, that was really great. That was inspirational, motivating, and encouraging. We need you to act. So step number one and call to action number one is, one, connect with the community. anytime I'm at an event, anytime I get into these LinkedIn exchanges, it's fascinating to see how many people don't know each other that are inside of the same organization. So you can start small. Commit to connecting with 2 ITSMF members. If you do a search on Instagram, LinkedIn, and do hashtag ITSMF, outside of that other organization that's there, for us, you'll see someone you don't know and just say, hey, listen, I'm an ITSMF member as well. I'd love to connect and see, what you're getting out of the organization. How has it helped you? What has it done to propel your career? And then you can start a relationship that way. Then expanding our network. I like to give out numbers. Executives like to work in 3, so I say go find 3, right? And those 3 can come through your other networks. While I'm a part of ITSMF, I'm also a part of Business Relationship Management Institute, as well as several other networks. And Bob Johansen, when he wrote his book that I'll have to ask Robert Scott to quote me on, he said, what makes ITSMF really, really good is that it is a shape-shifting organization and that they're going to win because they're a network of networks. And that's how we build ourselves out, right? We have to connect with other networks and bring them in. So I would say connect with your other networks and say, you really need to see what's happening in ITSMF, because what's really different about us is that we have soul, and that soul piece that connects us is a common thread that expands not just across us and our peers, but it also goes out to our families. And then lastly, I'm wrapping up on time, is to participate in the events. And so I'll reiterate the importance of connecting at the regional events, as well as coming to the main symposiums so that you can stay apprised of what's happening, as well as the online sessions that Elaine runs for the members. If you're not a member today, do what it takes to become a member, whether that's making sure you're getting promoted to the appropriate level, to making sure that you invest in the time to be there. So with that said, I want to say thank you to everyone. Johanna, you're doing a phenomenal job. Thank you, Sherelle, for connecting everyone in the community with us today. And I'll turn it back over to you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ibrahim. Thank you so much, Johanna. So we're now going to move into our live Q&A session. So I want to remind you all that you can utilize our chat feature and drop all of your questions that you have for Johanna and Ibrahim, and we'll do a live Q&A session. So I want to invite Johanna and Ibrahim back, because while those questions are coming in, I do want to reiterate on some of the things that you all touched on in your conversation.
Awesome. Thank you.
Right. Welcome back. So initially, when you guys kicked it off, I'm like, I want to make sure we have a call of action. And I was going to start the Q&A off with the call of action. But I mean, if you missed Johanna's call in action, I don't know how you missed that, because I think the chat was all on board for joining ITSMF on this ride. So I just want to reiterate some of those things as our call of action that you can do to support. So we know that DEI is in a very sensitive state right now, and fragile state. And so there may be some people that are wondering what they can do to continue to be an advocate in the midst of that. So some of those things, Johanna, that you talked about was really investing in ITSMF. And so becoming a member, Ibrahim, you touched on that. Sharing employment opportunities to our members that may be in need, donating your time, your talents, your gifts to the organization, investing in talent that's already there in your organization, looking internally, and even just referring ITSMF to any other corporate partnerships that we're not yet engaged in. That's how you can support us. And then Ibrahim, those 3 things you touched on, I think were really key and very easy to do. Connecting with the ITSMF community, expanding your network, and my favorite is participating in the events, our regional, our virtual events, our symposiums, of course. Those are all ways that you can join ITSMF on this ride. So that is the call of action to all of you all that are joining us here today. So let's see. Do we have any questions in the
We
chat?
have some questions for each other.
Oh, okay.
So this is Ibrahim's first year as chair. And one of the things that he's implemented with the board that I really think is awesome is starting the board meeting off with good news. It's a good way to center us, shake off the day, and our meetings are more energetic, more engaged. I think thanks to really starting off with that. And so I've stolen the concept, and we do mission moments at the beginning of our team meeting. So I would like for you to share one of your favorite mission moments from your first year as chair.
Thank you, Johanna, and family. Forgive me. I was supposed to have these scripted responses, and I don't have them. But what I'll tell you is this: there isn't just one. I mean, we everything from ringing the bell at NASDAQ and amplifying who ITSMF is, to all of the promotions that I've seen across our community. New CISOs being seated. Recognition. I'm seeing all the Savoy acknowledgments, everyone from our founders to members to allies, and I forget the term that co-conspirators. I just see our community being amplified, which is exactly what we're about. So I would have to say the events. I mean, everything, the programming, the graduation. I don't know how you can just say one. There's just so much happening in our community that's delivering good and great into the world and the universe that, it's hard. Look, I'm a passionate, emotional person. I'm a July Cancer. So that's what you get. You get a lot of heart with that. Right. So, that's what that would be my response, Johanna. I can't say just one. Okay.
I have one more question for you. So one of the things that we did this year was a board assessment. That I think is really critical to helping shape where we're going as an organization, but also the talent and the experience and the relationships that you think we need on the board going forward. So can you talk a little bit about what that assessment showed and what you're going to be looking for in filling future board seats?
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Johanna. So first, I will cover that. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Art Hopkins and Russell Reynolds for actually offering to do this pro bono. So when you heard Johanna talk about if there are pro bono services that can come into the community, please share so that we actually know what we have access to, right? And those in-kind services go a long way. And so in those conversations with Art, as we were looking to make sure that we're focused on the right things, because Johanna has an ambitious goal in terms of a revenue target, a graduation target, a promotion target, etc. It's going to require a lot of infrastructure. And so part of that is to ensure that us as a governing board, that we're governing. And what does that mean? That means that we're getting out of Johanna's way so that she can do what she's doing, and then just make sure that we're taking on any potential blind spots that are there. Everyone knows I'm a straight shooter. That doesn't mean we won't hit some sort of turbulence, right? There's going to be some adjustments. The same things that are happening in your companies are going to happen in the ITSMF organization as well. And guess what? We will rise like the phoenix from the ashes every single day, all day, because we're the best at what we do. Any industry that we enter, we are the best at. And that's why you may see some people trying to keep us out, because we will continue to thrive. So with that said, in terms of the board composition matrix that Russell Reynolds ran, we assessed on executive leadership, technology acumen, financial acumen, how well you know strategy, legal, human resources, connectivity to the West Coast, because oftentimes we'll find that the West Coast is digital while the East Coast is IT. And those of you in the role know what it is. If you don't, think about if you have a chief digital officer versus a chief information officer. Some will say, okay, the CIO is only going to take care of the run and maintain stuff, while the chief digital officer is going to focus on more of the sexy, new, emerging tech, etc. And what we're saying is, look, it's all technology. We're all digital leaders. We need to make sure that it's fully integrated. So the West Coast connectivity is really important for us. Yes, Erica Gladden sits on our board, and she is out in the Bay Area, and she helps us with connections out there, but we want to beef that up a bit more. Who served as, had the global role in the seat as CIO. Those are positions that we're going to actually open up as well. And then just global expertise and experience, right? Whereas people who have been on an expat assignment and have paid taxes in multiple countries, right? And why? Because they will truly have an understanding of the culture around the world and how ITSMF can show up in those spaces and help to elevate, those environments as well. So what we're looking for is to make sure we have the connectivity to the West Coast, make sure that we spruce up our legal capabilities, especially in the climate that we're going into, as well as West Coast legal and global experience. Those are really the three key areas we're taking a look at.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Definitely. We've got 10 minutes, so I'm going to ask you one question. I'm going to ask you two questions, Johanna, but I want to make sure we're able to answer the community, because that's probably more important than us, right? Having our banter. We can have that at 6 a.m. when I text you, right?
That's right. Yes. Or at 5:30 on Saturdays. Did you text me and ask me hard questions? So we could do this anytime, right?
Well, if it's okay with you, if you wouldn't mind, we talked about a lot of numbers, just share with the community, because I always want people to understand that it's your leadership that's really driving this organization. Okay. No matter how, high profile press ratings other people are, you're the one that's steering the ship, right? You're the captain of the ship. So if you wouldn't mind, what's at the heart of the ITSMF mission that keeps you personally motivated and excited to take on this mission every day?
The leaders. Last week, I had this call with Michael Robinson, who's one of our fellows, longtime member, CIO of Healthcare Solutions. He's an angel investor. He's the stuff. He's respected worldwide. And of course, I was asking him for something, and he said, absolutely, you can count on me. I got you. And I said, wow, thank you so much. And then I asked him, how are you able to, stay so involved and commit? What is it about this organization? And he said, I'm paraphrasing, I owe everything I am to ITSMF. Said our founder, Carl Williams, mentored me. And so it's part of who I am. It's in me to give back. And so when I see the most brilliant, talented people in tech who are humble, who are generous with their time, and deeply committed to building the future, it gives me goosebumps. It makes me want to work harder. It makes me want to run faster. The stories of our leaders and the impact and their humility inspire me.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Okay, let's make sure we get answers to our community. That's a phenomenal story. Can I just say, everyone, do you see how connected we are as a family? Like this is the nucleus of who we are as a community. We all run off to our companies and put on their jerseys, but this is our core. So who's posing our questions to us, Sherelle?
They should be coming up. Here we go. Here's our first question, actually for you, Ibrahim. They would like for you to elaborate more on how ITSMF plans for develop prowess. Yeah. Am I saying that right?
Prowess,
Okay, for its members and leaders.
Yeah, and thanks, Chris Lamone, fellow New Yorker city, right? He has to ask the hard questions, right? I thought you were my friend. So, yeah, I actually know it's really easy. I mean, our one is through our academies, right? So everything from the Management Academy to the Executive Academy to Emerge to our Board Academy to our Entrepreneur Academy. Yeah, and if I missed one, forgive me. All of our academies are going to continue to build up those skills, as well as I would say that ITSMF has a vast network that it's building of other providers that can provide capabilities in areas that the organization doesn't have, so that you have your sort of your one-stop shop for professional development.
Awesome. Thank you. Dominique Ingram, tuning in from LinkedIn, wants to know, does the organization currently have partnerships to train and prepare our leaders for the roles ITSMF needs help filling?
I think that's for you, Johanna. Maybe PLC?
Absolutely. I guess I'm not sure what you mean by the roles ITSMF needs help filling, positions in our organization, but as an organization and a community, we have a robust jobs board that is connected to our website. And so our positions for our organization are on there, as well as our corporate partners who opt into that option. So please use the jobs board. And absolutely every academy, every forum, every program that we do, we encourage our employees as a part of their orientation to go through an academy and have that experience. The same leadership curriculum that our academy participants go through, our dean for our Global Institute for Professional Development also leads training and development within our organization. And so we're actively, consistently developing our skills. And there are some behaviors and attributes of the ITSMF leader that we look for on our team. One of those is curiosity and a deep commitment to ongoing learning, and of course, a deep commitment to tech innovation and being curious and constantly being willing to skill up in those areas. So we try to mirror the expectations in our academies with people that we select on our team, as well as we're deeply committed to ongoing development for our team members.
Absolutely. And I'd like to just add on to that. If you are new to the organization, visiting our website, itsmfleaders.org, and under the offerings tab, lists out all of the offerings that ITSM have. So it lists and gives you in great detail about the academies that we offer, that is available to support our mission. Thank you. And we have time for one more question. And so this is from Stephanie Stiles. How do you view the firing of the Cyber Safety Review Board by the Department of Homeland Security? Does this signal waning support for technology threats by the new administration? What do you think the impacts will be? So this will be for either of you all.
I'm not in a position to speak to it because I'm not familiar. Mm-hmm. But let Johanna, do you have a response to it?
I'll just, I can't speak to that specifically, but, Ibrahim, some of the information that we took back from that AI summit, that we both went to, we heard from, the CEO of NVIDIA, we heard from colonels from the U.S. military. We heard from the leading experts that advise the White House on cyber. And from that, we saw that the government is interested in, massive redeployment of resources to really build energy to make sure that the United States is a part of the global race for AI. And so while I cannot speak to, the current administration and any decisions that they make and comment on why they do it, but I would say that some of that insight that we saw in the summit, that, our government is interested in making sure that we have the energy, that we are a player, and that market is AI forward, and resources are being invested there. So
let me piggyback on your point, Johanna. The one thing Jensen said was, you can fight one of us, you can't fight us all. And so the important note there is that when we look at the cybersecurity threats, that we have to move collectively as a country to fight cyber threats. So it's not only the responsibility of the government, it's also responsibility of the private sector, all the way down to the individual. So those are the things that we have to keep in mind. But in terms of the specific call out that you had about the person being laid off, I can't speak to. What I would offer up is, we've got an entire community of CISOs. You feel free to ask them, whether it's Octavia, John, Michael Palmer, except we've got CISOs of some really large enterprises that might have a perspective that can help you. This is why it's important to connect with the network.
All right. Well, thank you. It is time for us to go ahead and wrap up for the day. But Johanna and Ibrahim, thank you all for taking the time out to address our community, provide them with updates, with your calls of actions. I noticed in the chat as you guys were presenting, they are excited about the new year with ITSMF. They are committed to assisting us and joining us for the ride. So thank you all for your time. And so before we go, I do have a few announcements for the audience. And so I wanted to remind you all that S1 is right around the corner. April 24th through the 26th, we will be at the Marriott Marquis in Houston, Texas. So I saw a few of you all tuning in from Texas already. So we hope to see you in Houston. The hotel rooms are already available, and we are looking to launch registration very, very soon. Also want to remind you, in addition to S1, we also have our Technology Leaders Awards Gala. And so nominations are still open. Nominations are closing on Friday, January 31st. So if you've already started your nomination, make sure you go back and complete that nomination. Or if you know someone that is deserving to be awarded, make sure you go and complete that nomination by Friday. And then lastly, again, thank you all for attending, but your feedback matters. So you can scan this QR code to provide your feedback for today's State of the Community address, and let us know. This feedback is crucial to helping us create better events for you all. So please make sure you complete the survey. We'll also send one out following this event as well. So thank you all. If you're still here, thank you all for tuning in. Again, Johanna, Ibrahim, thank you for your commitment to ITSMF, your time in addressing our community. And we look forward to another prosperous 2025 with our ITSMF family. Thank you all.
ITSMF is for black tech execs. 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 Vision of Carl Williams, the fire will stick. 14 black CIOs, they will quit. Building a future for minds so bright.
Expose its brand. We raise up leaders to take the stand. C-suite, Fortune 500, we're there. Global leadership, we take the air.
Little management emerge, ignite. Like a young melodies blazing with all their might. Mind, body, and soul, we roll.
ITSMF. feelings, touching skies.
ITSMF, please go back to your sense. ITSMF.